Welcome to the deep dive. Okay, today we're really getting into it, cutting through all the noise and the spec sheets to tackle a huge question for pros right now. Do you stick with the proven workhorse or, jump to the absolute latest, greatest flagship?
Exactly. We were talking about that big debate, Canon EOS R3 versus the much anticipated EOS R1. And our sources, well, they paint this really fascinating picture, right? These cameras are almost twins in what they produce, but their whole philosophy, totally different.
That's it, exactly. I mean, if your job relies on catching that bird just as it takes off, or, that split-second goal, that absolute peak athletic moment, well, both these cameras promise you won't miss it. So our mission here is simple. Boil down the key differences fast and help you figure out if the R1's really groundbreaking tech justifies, frankly, a massive price hike over the R3, which is already, let's be honest, phenomenal.
And that really is the heart of it, isn't it? The R3 is, well, it's established. It's already seen as one of the fastest, most reliable cameras out there, period. The R1, though, it's not just trying to be faster. It feels like it's trying to change what capturing the moment even means, taking reaction time almost out of the equation. So the choice isn't really about image quality. It's more, is paying extra to remove that last bit of human delay a smart move for your work, for your business?
Right. And before we even get into where the R1, flexes its muscles, we absolutely have to lay down the foundation, what they share. Because honestly, this shared stuff is why the R3 is still such a contender.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the image quality you get out, it's functionally identical.
Right.
We're talking the same 24.0 megapixel stack, CMOS sensor, full frame.
Same size, same everything.
Exactly. Same pixel count, 6,000 by 4,000 resolution.
Correct.
So R1 or R3, the file you walk away with, it's the same pro-grade quality.
And that basic pro-level stuff carries through, right? Like integrated body image stabilization, IBIS, that's in both.
Yep, IBIS in both.
And the max native ISO is identical to 102,400. So low light performance, top tier. No difference there.
And crucially, the autofocus system foundation is the same incredibly complex setup. 1053 hybrid phase detect points, PDAF, essential for tracking things moving fast. The R3's eye sensing AF is already like industry leading stuff.
So the R1 isn't fundamentally changing the AF game over the R3. It's more building on that really solid base.
That's a good way to put it. It's building on something already exceptional.
We also saw in the sources that the video specs are basically a wash too, which is pretty amazing considering the R3 came out back in 2021.
Yeah, it really holds up. Both give you 12-bit raw video, internal and external. Both top out at 6K 60. Both do 4K at 120 frames per second. So, if you're doing hybrid work, stills, and high-speed video for sports or whatever, the R3 is already a beast.
Okay, so identical sensors, identical image quality, same AF points, basically identical video. Where does the R1 actually earn that premium price tag? Because like we said, the R3 is already amazing. The R1 needed something big, right? Not just a small step.
And this is where processing power really enters the chat, you could say.
Right. The R1 gets the new brain, the DIGIC-X processor, plus this thing Canon is calling the accelerator. The R3 just has the DIGIC-X.
Yeah.
So if we want to get under the hood, what's this accelerator actually doing? That seems key.
What's fascinating is it looks like it's specialized hardware, probably dedicated silicon focused on like deep learning or AI type tasks.
Yeah.
Its main job isn't running the camera day to day. It seems specifically designed to handle the super complex real-time number crunching needed for, say, better subject tracking, and, crucially, buffering the insane amount of data for the R1's big party tricks.
And the biggest party trick, the one everyone's buzzing about, it really challenges the photographer's whole role, doesn't it? The pre-release burst mode.
Oh, this is genuinely game-changing. The R3, fast as it is, doesn't have it. The R1 starts grabbing images up to half a second before you even fully press the shutter.
Wow.
Think about what that means in the real world. Human reaction time, cognitively, is maybe, 0.25 seconds?
Mm-hmm.
The R1 just wipes that lag right out.
Yeah, if you're waiting for that bird to finally jump off the branch or the exact moment the runner hits the tape, even with a fast camera, you're often reacting just a hair too late, right? That burst of action is faster than your brain can fully process and fire. So by grabbing half a second of history before the moment you thought was the moment, the R1 kind of shifts capturing that shot from being about your timing to being about the gear's capability. It almost guarantees it.
It totally changes your strategy for anything unpredictable.
Yes.
For that pro who absolutely needs to nail those erratic blink and you miss it moments for, high paying clients.
Yeah.
The R1 suddenly feels less like a luxury and more like Well, a necessity.
And it's not just about catching the moment before the moment. The sheer speed and volume goes up too. R3's electronic shutter is brilliant at 30 frames per second. The R1 pushes that to 40.
Yeah.
That extra 10 FPS, that's what, 25% more frames to choose from to find that single perfect P action shot?
But the operational difference, the thing you'll feel day to day during long bursts, it's the stamina that accelerated chip gives it. Look at the buffer depth. The R3 is great, don't get me wrong. Handles about 420 raw frames at 30 FPS. That's like 14 seconds of continuous shooting. Solid.
Okay.
But the R1, get this, over 1,000 raw frames at 40 FPS. That's over 25 seconds of non-stop full-speed raw capture.
Wait a second. Okay. 1,000 raw files at that speed. What are the sources saying about how quickly that buffer clears? Because shooting that fast is useless if you then have to wait ages to shoot again, right?
That's a really practical point, because speed up front means nothing if you hit a wall.
Yeah.
But this seems thought through. The R1 requires dual CF Express Type B cards. Remember, the R3 mixes one CF Express with a slower SD-UHS Type slot. By going dual CF Express Type B only, that massive amount of data can be offloaded really fast. The whole system, the processor, the buffer, the card slots, is designed end-to-end to sustain that ridiculous speed. They ditched the slower SD slot specifically to avoid that bottleneck. It confirms the R1 is built purely for maximum throughput, no compromises.
That makes total sense. Yeah. Minimize any potential slowdown. Okay, and then there's the viewfinder experience, which, if you're tracking a sprinter down a track or a bird diving, the clearer and bigger that view, the better you can keep things composed, surely.
Absolutely. And the R1's EVF, the electronic viewfinder, it gets a really substantial upgrade. We're talking 9.44 million dots resolution and 0.90x magnification.
Wow.
The R3's EVF is great, 5.76 million dots, 0.76x magnification, very usable. But the R1's specs mean a noticeably clearer, bigger, more immersive view. And that really matters when your subject is moving incredibly fast across your frame.
Okay, so yeah, undeniable tech advantages. Better processor, that crazy pre-capture thing, way deeper buffer, faster burst, better viewfinder. Which brings us right back to the core question, the strategic pivot point. Is that list of tech wizardry worth the extra cash for you?
And this is exactly where the R3 mounts its counter-argument. What's fascinating here is the R3's case isn't about tech specs. It's just about, well, simple economics and practicality.
Okay, lay out the numbers for us again, because the price gap really is pretty stark.
Right. The R1 is launching, MSRP, body only $6,800. The R3, because it's been out for a bit, you can find it readily now for around $4,000 on the street, even though its launch price was $5,400.
So that's nearly a $2,800 difference.
Yeah, almost $3,000.
And that $2,800, that's not just pocket change. I mean, that's the price of a really nice professional L-series lens, maybe even two, depending on what you need.
Precisely. That's the strategic lens, pardon the pun, we need to look through. Where does that money give you the biggest bang for your buck? If you already have decent lenses, does jumping from 30 FPS to 40 FPS really transform your results for most pro work? Maybe not as much
as putting that $2,800 towards, say, a faster prime lens, like a 400mm f2.8, or upgrading a key zoom.
Exactly. That investment in top-tier glass will often give you a much bigger, more tangible improvement in image quality, in low-light ability, in background separation, in the overall look of your photos than the body upgrade might, especially if 30 FPS is already meeting your needs.
Yeah, because the lens gathers the light, dictates the sharpness, the whole aesthetic, right? The body just dictates how fast you capture what the lens sees. If 30 FPS is fast enough, maybe better glass is the smarter play.
That's the argument. The body sets the potential speed, the lens sets the image quality potential. Plus, let's not forget the R3 is battle tested. It's been out there since 2021. Pros have hammered on it. It's a known quantity, reliability, workflow, how it handles.
And there's also that slight physical difference, right? Both are big pro bodies with integrated grips, but the R3 is actually a bit lighter.
Yeah, about 100 grams lighter. R3 is roughly 1,015 grams. R1 is closer to 11,115 grams.
100 grams doesn't sound like much on paper.
But, hold that rig with a big telephoto lens attached for 10, 12 hours at a sporting event, or hike with it for days tracking wildlife. That 100 grams starts to matter. It adds up. Less fatigue. The R3 is already a proven workhorse, and being slightly lighter just adds to its practical appeal for long assignments.
Okay, so what does this all mean? When you're standing there, credit card hovering, ready to make a huge investment, let's try and nail down the profiles. Who is the R1 really for, and who should stick with or choose the R3?
Right. Let's synthesize. Choose the R1 if your work consistently involves subjects that are just so fast, so unpredictable, maybe so dangerous or expensive to get access to, that your entire income hinges on getting shots that demand literally zero human reaction time. That pre-release burst has to be critical for you. If you need a buffer that just goes on forever over 25 seconds of continuous raw shooting, and you genuinely need 40 FPS over 30 FPS, if that's you, then yeah, the R1 is the strategic tool, but it's probably not your main concern. Getting that impossible shot is.
Okay. And the R3?
Choose the R3 if you want absolutely exceptional performance that's already proven itself in the real world. Battle-tested reliability. If you know that 30 FPS and the R3's fantastic AF system are already more than enough for the demanding pro work you do. And crucially, if you want to take that significant saving, nearly $3,000, and invest it where it might make a bigger difference in superior lenses.
So for a lot of pros, maybe even most, the R3 represents the smarter business decision, delivering maybe 95% of that absolute cutting-edge performance.
I think that's fair. The R3 hits that sweet spot of incredible capability and proven value. The R1 is for that specialist, that niche photographer whose work lives in that extra 5%, where the absolute technological ceiling is the only thing that matters.
Yeah, ultimately, both of these cameras are just operating on a different level compared to most of the market, aren't they? Speed, reliability, whether you go R3 or R1, the real value might just be the confidence they give you, knowing the gear isn't going to be what holds you back.
It really is about confidence. But
yeah,
connecting back to that pre-release burst on the R1, it does make you wonder, doesn't it? If the camera's tech can now capture the decisive moment before the photographer even consciously reacts, does that fundamentally change what capturing the decisive moment even means? Does it become less about the photographer's skill and timing and more just a function of having the right incredibly advanced equipment?
Ooh, that is a deep question. Maybe one for another time, perhaps after you've waded through the thousands of images from your first R1 shoot. For now, we hope this breakdown helps clarify your next big gear decision. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you on the next deep dive.